Hello and welcome back. We're now moving on to our feature discussion, and as always we're mixing it up a little bit, and this week we're actually going to look at a topic called I Thought This Was Going to Suck, where we look at games that we were afraid to play or thought we might not enjoy, but when we played them, actually they turned out to be pretty damn good. This one's a little bit of a special edition, I guess, and Scotty, would you like to let the audience know why?
Yeah, coming up in the month of September, we're going to be celebrating this guy, Dreamcast. Okay, nothing's in there. I was afraid there's been a game in there the whole time. But with the Dreamcast Dreamless 24-hour marathon, we are going to be celebrating him, and that will not fall off. He will stay there for the moment. And so we thought we'd make this a Dreamcast edition. September 12th, though, again, Dreamcast Dreamless 24-hour marathon. Play games for 24 hours. One of my favorite parts of that is when we're playing these games and people watching, even people attending, are like, man, how have I missed this? I need to own this or play more of this, or it is insane that this was never on my radar. So last year it was Illbleed for Corey. I think Antichrist really dug Gunlord. Previously, people have wanted to get into like the indie games we show off and stuff. So kind of going along with that, we're going to incorporate Dreamcast games into this feature. So do you want me to go first with mine?
Yes.
Okay. So mine was a game that I heard it was supposed to be great. And I got it Christmas when it came out when I was 16. Little Scotty Moe Jr. didn't understand video games when he popped in Shenmue. Because I thought this was the dumbest thing in the world as a stupid teenager. And was just like, this is boring as hell. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. The controls suck. Fuck this. So I went and played Jet Set Radio or something, probably. Jet Grind Radio in the States, sorry. But then I tried it more recently as an adult and fell in. It was boring at first, but really the mundane stuff, the daily grind, barely anything happening, is actually more entertaining than I thought it would be, or that I thought it was as a kid anyway, kind of forcing you to take your time with the game. The first one is known for that. The second one incorporates speed or time skipping. I'm missing a word here. But like the weird characters, the awkward conversations, the dumb interactions with people, but then I learned to appreciate it because of how everyone in that world has a routine. They go to get breakfast, they go to walk over to the burger place, they go to the arcade, they go to the bars at night, like stuff like that, and just everything you can do in it. I don't understand how anyone could 100% either any of the Shenmue game. But I very much appreciate it now as an adult, and it blows my mind that more people don't appreciate it like I feel they should, because it still does some stuff that games don't do today. Yeah, Shenmue is very good. A runner-up to that I'll mention briefly is Sega Bass Fishing, not just because it incorporates the fishing rod, but because it's a palate cleanser. I also own the Japanese version, which is Get Bass. And uses the fishing rod controller, but honestly I've probably played that game less than I played Soul Calibur with a fishing rod controller. But the Sega Bass Fishing, it's like coming from a generation of like Bass Hunter 64 and garbage on the Genesis and whatever, like Bass Masters 2013 or whatever, that's the wrong year, 1996, I don't know. Thinking like, how's a fishing game fun? But Sega it added its arcade appeal. And bass fishing is, if you want to play something, you don't feel like you need to accomplish a lot. Just sit there, zone out, maybe put a podcast on or something. The most exciting part is like fish on, and you have to reel it in and whatever. So yeah, Shenmue and Sega Bass Fishing. There you go.
Nice. It's Chris.
What do you got? Do you guys have any comments about those, or do you want to just jump into yours? What do you think?
Sorry, no, we can comment on this, I guess, as well. Yeah, I think they're both. Those are both games I can completely understand. Not everyone would appreciate them necessarily straight away, or they'd be hesitant about playing them. Shenmue is one of those games that so many people have sort of hyped up so much that I know of a lot of people who've actually played it and just been like, I don't get it. But I think you hit the nail on the head. Once you actually understand the game and just realize actually how kind of groundbreaking it was for its time. You start to really appreciate it. And personally, I thought the game was really fun straight from the off when I first played it.
Okay.
I just really enjoyed it. But I was watching this in magazines and stuff at the time so closely. Yeah. I kind of understood exactly what it was going to be. So when I played it, it was not a surprise. I guess one of the things that I think was a bit maybe off-putting is the wrong word, but when you first start the game, you're in your room and just moving around the very tight spaces in your house felt very awkward. But once you get outside and it opens up, and I barely spent time in my house in the end. Once I got into that, I was like, yeah, I'm loving this game. The fights were great, the action, QTEs, loving everything. I actually walked around talking to people just to find out what they had to say, because like how ridiculous it was. And one day, I remember being with a friend, and we got up early and watched someone leave their house to go to work. We actually followed them to work. I can't remember who it was.
You can do that.
Yeah, you can do that. You can just, and like, if you knock on someone's door when they're not in, or like they're like their kid might be in, they'll open the door and go, "No, sorry, my mum's at home," and like shut the door and leave you. So it's like,
oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
And you can call up the weather channel and find out what the weather's going to be and stuff. I thought that was amazing. That just blew my mind.
Yep.
And put out a Sega Saturn from underneath your TV, and you can play. And no, it's not really a Saturn game. You can play like Hang On and stuff in your house. This is like real life.
That was crazy to play a game in a game. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, the only thing I found disappointing with Shenmue was collecting the cassettes, the music, because you could collect them or buy them or whatever and listen to them, but you had to do it on like the pause screen, so you couldn't like listen to when you when walking around, which I think would have been way better. Like, I mean, that would have been way cooler. But yeah, oh well. Yeah, Chris, have you got any? Oh, actually, one thing just on Sega Bass Fishing. I love that game so much. Me and my friend, we just played that so much. We just thought it was so much fun. It's very simple, but yeah, it's like fish.
It's weird that it's not 2-player. The first one's only 1-player, which is strange. But I think that marine fishing.
Ooh.
Oh no, that's only 1-player too. That's so weird?
Okay. But yeah, I found it very addictive. It just became really fun. Me and my friend just really enjoyed it, and we used to love playing the fishing mini game in Zelda Ocarina of Time. Like we just sat there for like a day, basically playing that, trying to catch the biggest fish. I was going to bring that up.
A lot of people like will still play Final Fantasy 14, I think, online, just because there's fishing in that too. Like the fishing mini games and stuff. For some reason, people are drawn to those.
Yeah, it's kind of you chill out, and then it's like, fish, oh my god, like really gotta.
Yeah,
and they did it really well. But
I would say that Big the Cat in Sonic Adventure, if that incorporated the fishing rod, I probably would tolerate his portion of the game way more.
I actually don't mind Big the Cat sections. I'm just saying it. I think there's nothing wrong with them. They're fine for me. I thought they were kind of fun. A side break.
That's okay to be wrong.
I just embrace
We've already established on this podcast that you can have an opinion, and it is probably wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. The only thing I was going to say is I can't wait until we get to the time where video games are so advanced that you can find like a Dreamcast and play Shenmue, and then you can play as Ryu playing a Saturn playing Hang On. Imagine that. That's the future of video games.
That is the future. Oh.
Shenmueception. Yeah. In Shenmueception. I had it. I don't know. Yeah, that's mine though.
Nice. So Chris, what's been tickling your taste buds this week, my friend?
Well, I was going to say Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt, but then we switched it that we wanted to do Dreamcast. So Witcher 3 was going to be my original pick, but if I had to narrow it down for Dreamcast games, it's going to be Sword of the Berserk Guts Rage.
Ooh.
And it was not necessarily that I thought I was going to hate the game, or when I started playing it, I hated it. I didn't really know anything about the game. It was one of those, I think I probably just went to my local game store and saw that it came out, and I picked it up and went home and played it. It looked like a good like hack and slash type of game. Playing it, I really started liking Guts' character. He's basically this kind of like wandering mercenary that has this huge, giant, overpowered sword, and he's a super badass. but I could tell there was so much to like the story because it wasn't like an origin story for Guts at all. And what I didn't know at the time was that for many, many years there had been a manga from Japan about Guts. It was, sort of the Berserk. And I also learned, after doing research that there was an anime. And so I somehow bought the anime or downloaded it. I couldn't remember. This is like, early 2000s.
That checks out for you.
This is like 2001 or something like that, man. So, but anyway, I started watching the anime and I just fell in love with the anime. I was like, this is so, so cool. And I eventually started buying the manga and stuff, which I have like some of them like right here, which is like the OG manga stuff. But then they started coming out with these like collected volumes that are like really cool. And it's all
fancy.
Like a bunch of the volumes, like all in one, like all right here.
Hardback.
In hardback, yeah. And so I actually need to get the third like edition as well. But anyway, it opened me up into this whole universe that I didn't even know existed. And once I fell in love with that, like it made me love the video game even more. The game itself isn't all that great, I'll be honest. There's a lot of frustrating parts in it where you're using Guts' sword and it's really big, but they like intentionally put you in situations where you can't use it. And so like you're trying to swing on like a narrow like staircase and it just keeps hitting the wall. So then you're having to use like other methods to fight characters and stuff, whether it's just like punching them or you could throw these like daggers that he has. It's really, really cool. I fell in love with it. And I actually thought that it had some really good voice work in the game, especially for its time. I mean, this was a time when most games that had voice acting, it was just a joke. Everyone made fun of them and stuff. It still wasn't a time where probably like Shenmue and stuff like that. It was like when we finally got like really high quality voice acting. I mean, this wasn't at that level, but it was still like much better than a lot of what had come out around that same time. So that was
almost a jail sandwich.
What's that? Oh yeah.
You were almost a jail sandwich, yeah. Like that.
How berry. So man, I love Sword of the Berserk. Have you guys ever played this?
Oh yeah.
I only played it because I bought it for someone as a gift and I tested it out before giving it to them. But tested. I don't own it anymore. It's jumped up in price since I bought it for him. But I do remember just the sword. Like all I remember is that first part where you're like near some gypsy travelers or something. I forget exactly. The very beginning. But he does have his big sword. I was going to ask you if that was one of the issues with it was like hit detection, but it sounds like it's reliable hit detection where you can't,
Yeah, it was just. I mean, and there was some other issues, but overall, it was a solid game. And it was neat too because it was like super graphic and like Guts could like slice like dudes in half, and there's just like blood spraying out.
Nice.
And so for its time, it was rated M, and for good reason. But it was just one of those cool games that had a ton of blood in it. And at that point in time, I was still all like, whatever bloody game I could get, I want to play. And it was just one of those games that just really.
Why, if you didn't know anything about Berserk, how did you end up grabbing it? Did you just see like this looks violent? I want to play it.
I think so. I think I may have read something in a magazine about how you could slice people in half, and it was like really bloody. And I was like, it sounds kind of cool. And so I ended up buying it, and it wasn't until like I started playing the game, and then I was like, there's got to be more to this. So I searched online, and that's when I discovered that there was an anime and a manga. And
because it does. If I remember correctly, it very much just kind of starts you. It doesn't introduce Guts at all. You're just him.
Yeah, it basically starts like between volumes 22 and like 23. That's what, according to Wikipedia, anyway. But yeah, it starts way later. It even starts if you watch the original anime. It's even past that. It's so far into the story. So, but now we've gotten that original anime. We've got a trilogy of movies that came out years ago, and then we also got a new CGI Berserk
that
anime
thing.
that is.
Yeah.
There's some really awful animation in that. I think that's like what it has its kind of name for now, reputation. But I will say that I like it because it goes beyond like the golden arc and everything, where it's telling more of the story than we've ever gotten before in an anime film or series.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Fun.
So, on sort of Berserk, I have played it. Annoying, I can't find my copy, which is really annoying. But basically, I own have you heard of white label Dreamcast games?
White label? I mean, that's what
the games that are white labels. Is that like a publisher?
No. So there's certain Dreamcast games that were given to retailers and stuff, which are literally white label. They just have the name of the game on and stuff. So that's Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation. So
that looks like a CD. That looks like you burned that.
I did not burn this.
Graham, you're lying.
Yeah.
It's legitimate. It's official. It's by Sega.
Hey Graham, look into that disc and say Candyman 5 times.
But I own the white label version. So I've got like a handful of white label. I've got Evolution, Tomb Raider. I've got Sword of the Berserk as well. And I was given Sword of the Berserk and Tomb Raider when I worked briefly at a video game store. I was doing it we have something called it's called. It's like basically a job training thing when you're still at school. Work experience, that's what we call it. Sorry, yeah, it's called work experience. So you don't get paid for it.
Get your work credits in or whatever.
Yeah, so you go there for like 2 weeks or something. You work in the store helping out, and I got with this local video game store, and they basically didn't pay me, but they seemed to like me.
You do that? How did you say this is related to school?
It doesn't have to. That's the thing. It doesn't have to be related to school. It's just a job. That's all we had to do. Just find a company that was. Some people did like really good stuff. I think some people like worked in law firms and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm going to go to the local video store. I was like, yeah, I want to work in a video game store in Boulder.
This kid's going places.
I remember I did something like that. I don't remember. I wish I could remember what it's called, but I essentially got out of school like an hour and a half early to go help my youth pastor get PowerPoints together for that upcoming Sunday's youth ministry thing. I was super involved in my church in high school and freshman year of college. A lot has changed, but I forget what it was like a early work dismissal or something. But I was like, this is my job to get out of school an hour and a half early.
Okay, like basically for our 2 weeks we didn't have to go to school at all. We actually went to work. We weren't getting paid for it, obviously, but yeah, they gave me some free stuff. They gave me like a Game Gear battery pack. They gave me a few Dreamcast, because they knew I loved the Dreamcast and Sega stuff. So I was like downstairs, like sorting out like all this stuff in this basement, and they're like, "Oh yeah,
guys, we can get rid of all our Game Gear shit."
Basically, they also had it wasn't quite life size, but it was nearly life size statue of Lara Croft to promote Tomb Raider 4, and they basically said, "Do you want it? Because we're just going to throw it out." And I was like, oh my god. And this is a point where I couldn't drive because I was too young to drive. So I was like, I asked my parents if they could pick me up one day after work rather than catch the bus. And like, why? Like, because I want to take home this Lara Croft statue. And they're just like, no, like, you're not bringing that home. So I could have had this limited edition Lara Croft statue. Yeah, why not? I was like, well, we got no space for it because it was like proper, like, it's like 5 foot tall.
Can't keep this in here. It's a distraction to Graham. He can't work without a boner when this thing's around, so we got to get rid of it.
Oh man, so yeah, but I have the white label version of Sword of the Berserk, and unfortunately I can't find it, but I did randomly manage to pick up the manual for the game. So I don't have the proper British PAL box. I'm working my way there. So I now have the manual. I've got the white label just somewhere. It might be in one of my CD wallets, but I can't find it right now. Slightly panicking. Or it could be at my parents' house. I don't know.
Whenever you find that, Graham, if you want to sell it, have your people call by people.
Yeah, maybe. No, I don't know.
Dude, I looked up Sword of Berserk while we're talking about it, at least US anyway. Complete, it goes for $48. Loose, the disc is $30.
What? Wow. That's quite incredible.
Yeah, I don't know.
How about for the white label version?
That's not... Well, this only searches US stuff, so I don't honestly know.
Wow. Okay.
That means...
But yeah, Chris, I really enjoyed the game, and on the topic of cutscenes and stuff and the actual voice acting, I was blown away by this. There was a couple of cutscenes that I remember I remember just sitting there, like especially the sort of the bad guy, like sort of I don't know where he was, like a mayor or something of the town, like really grizzled kind of looking guy with a sort of red and grey hair.
I think that was Griffin.
Yeah, I just remember watching one of the cutscenes, being like just watching it and going, "Oh shit! Wait, this is a video game." Like for some reason, if you watch it today, you'll be like, "This is terrible. This is obviously video game graphics." But at the time, it was so well done. I was like, "This is." It wasn't CGI. It was in-game visuals. And I was like, "This is brilliant." And I love the storyline. I thought the story was fantastic.
I misspoke. It was Baron Balzac.
Okay, Balzac. That rings a bell. Yeah. Yeah, I love the storyline. I loved the levels and stuff. Your journey that you went on. You're right. The gameplay was annoying with some of the areas where you couldn't swing your sword, considering part of the fun was killing people with your sword. But it still worked. I thought it was really good. I never finished it though. I got to the very last boss, and like the point just before the last boss, you get to save it and stuff. And I couldn't do it, so I got really frustrated. So I stopped playing the game. I went back to it like a couple of years later, and my VMU broke, so I could not load the game anymore. So that's like 7 or 8 hours of my life. Like basically, the file got corrupted or something. I had to wipe the whole. None of my save files worked on the VMU anymore. It wasn't even VMU. It was like one of the 4 megabit cards. It wasn't an official card anyway.
The 4 times. Oh, okay. I thought you meant like the 4 times thing or whatever.
Yeah, well, it just it got corrupted, so I had to wipe that sort of save pack bit, and yeah, so that's I've never gone back to really play it from start to finish since, but yeah, really good game. So yeah, that's a good choice there, Chris. Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you even say yours yet, Graham?
No, not yet.
Okay, I thought you started it. I don't know. Sorry. I got distracted because I was trying to look for like I don't know if this happened in in Europe, but Midway release games, Mortal Kombat Gold, Hydro Thunder, they eventually had a hot new edition, and I thought maybe that was like the white label edition, but the disc is the exact same. I think there is a disc that's blue for Hydro Thunder, but the hot new editions were like the glitchy repaired version.
The glitchy ones, yeah. It was basically their idea of like patching the game.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think we have white label over here. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Maybe if you can ask that retro store you go to, because
we have White Claw over here.
What's that? What?
White Claw.
I don't know what that is. I don't know.
Okay.
Well,
I guess it's some sort
of hard seltzer drink that people claim is good.
Oh, okay.
It's like a hard seltzer. It's alcoholic.
I thought it was going to be like some sort of sexual thing. But okay. That's fine. Welcome to the White Claw Show.
I gotta go.
Speak to Warp Zone and just ask them if they know of any of the like.
The disc. I thought you were talking about White Claw still.
Ask if they have.
Ask if they know. Give you a White Claw.
Jesus Christ!
It's all gone wrong. It's all gone wrong. Chris, stop talking, please. I'm gonna go to my pick now. Screw it. So I guess mine is a little bit different to your guys. This is one that, again, I basically it was more that I was afraid that I wouldn't like it. Like it was a game that I really wanted to play and really wanted to love, but as it was getting closer to launch date, I don't know. I got a fear in my head that this game is not going to be that good because all the screenshots looked beautiful. I didn't see any gameplay footage, so this is a time that you couldn't go on the internet and really watch stuff. They had demo discs with magazines, and I remember the Dreamcast magazine, they're like, demo disc with this game. I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. I'm going to finally get to play a little bit of this game. When the demo disc came out, it did not have the game playable. It just had a series of, like a slideshow of screenshots, and the screenshots looked great, but they kind of just look like concept art. Like I couldn't even tell if there was actually in-game graphics. I was just like, this looks too good. Like there's something about this game. This doesn't seem quite right. I think it was slightly delayed as well. And I just got this weird fear in my head. It's going to be like the new Superman 64 or something, delayed. Comes out, worst game in the world. And it finally came out. And I remember looking at the back of the box and thinking,
I almost want to try to guess, but I have no idea.
Ooh, I can tell you it was released in 2000, had a PS2 remake in 2002, and it was not released in Japan at all. So it's only America and Europe.
Ugh.
I can't really give you much more information because it will just give it away. Like even the
Is it a tactical espionage type deal, like
It
Metal
is
Gear Solid ripoff?
No, it is not. Although that's a great game.
I don't know. I got no clue.
Okay. Actually, just flashed up on screen just then because I accidentally moved my hand slightly too high.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Good. It is Ecco the Dolphin, Defender of the Future.
Oh.
So, yeah, I was just really afraid this game would not be good. And here's the thing, I wasn't a massive fan of the first Ecco the Dolphin games on the Genesis or Mega Drive. I thought I kind of liked them for being a bit different, but I never really got into them. Like, I kind of played them a little bit. I did a few of them. I remember doing level skips to get through most of the game.
Yeah, notoriously difficult.
So hard. It's just like frustrating. You know, it was like it has sort of action moments in the original games. But yeah, it was there something about the games that I kind of liked and wanted to like.
That did get a PS2 release. That's
it
weird.
Did, yeah. And the PS2 release is not as good as the Dreamcast one, according to every review in the world, basically. I've not actually played the PS2 version, but anyway, yeah, the game came out. I was blown away by the visuals. I mean, I actually played the game more recently because I tested it out on the Striker DC controller, and I was still actually really impressed by how good it looks. So yes, is dated in areas, but I was like, this is like Ecco himself, and a lot of the underwater sea creatures look amazing. Like they're just almost perfectly recreated these underwater sea creatures. And the thing I love most about it is the whole storyline. It's just so epic. Like you think, like from the screenshots and stuff, you think you're just basically going to be going around, you know, local sea, like normal aquatic situations in the sea, in the ocean or whatever, solving puzzles. But the first few levels are like that. Have you guys played this game at all, or have you guys finished the game or got even up halfway through the game?
This was another game that I went on a splurge when I worked at GameStop, and they still don't know what they have. So if you're looking for Dreamcast underpriced, what they go for or what they're worth in the crazy secondhand selling world, do GameStop stuff because they have no idea. But short version is I have it but never played it.
Okay. Chris, did you play it? Or
yeah, I played it quite a bit back in the day, but never remember this game because my daughters loved watching me play it, and I would just let them play because they like what you're saying. They love the underwater aspect of it. It was awesome for when it released. It was amazing. I'd never seen and played a game that kind of explored, the ocean like that, and to that degree of like graphics and visuals. Like, yeah, it was awesome for that alone.
So I take it you didn't get too far into the game, did you? Or
I can't remember any. I must not have. I can't remember.
The game just switches everything up. It gets so crazy. Like the storyline's by a really, I can't remember the author's name now. By David Brin. He's a science fiction author. He apparently is quite popular, especially back in the day. But he wrote the storyline, and it's actually narrated by Tom Baker, who is one of the original Doctor Who's, if you don't know that. And the story is basically about dolphins and humans have sort of come together in this world, and they're actually going off into space. But there is this alien entity called the Foe, who basically want to kill all humans and dolphins. And while we're exploring space, they leave dolphins as protectors, and Ecco is one of those protectors, and they have this shield around the world. But the Foe attack us, and effectively they destroy like the part of the shield. And it's up to Ecco to try and help save the world, basically stop the Foe invasion and stuff. But shit goes crazy. Like there's a whole like thing about time travel and stuff. Like basically Ecco goes to the future, and the Foe has taken over the entire world, and like enslaved all the dolphins. All the humans are killed and stuff. There's just some really crazy stuff going on. There's like levels where you're going through tubes of water that are floating in the sky and like jumping between bubbles of water. So you're not actually in the ocean anymore. There's other bits where you're in these underground sort of mechanical areas where the water's all like green, horrible and sludgy. And you get these other abilities to help you like move machinery and stuff around. And the game is massive. The levels are really big. You actually get to go back and visit some of them again and stuff. there's some beautiful scenery in it. It just blew my mind. I love it. And if you finish the entire game, you actually get a fun football game to play, like dolphin underwater football, which is impossible to control. I hate it, but it was just fun to like, this is kind of quirky. But yeah, this is one of those games that where the first few levels you think, oh, this is just kind of like Ecco the Dolphin but in 3D. It just ramps it all up, and it's also one of the scariest Dreamcast games I think I've played. There are some bits in it that really scared the crap out of me, like when you're getting chased by like a massive underwater electric eel thing that's like chasing after you through a tunnel and like shooting lightning at you. It's like, oh my god! Or an underwater giant prehistoric crocodile, which genuinely that was like the scary, like just swimming into this cavern, and it's just like, oh my god! like holy crap!
Man.
And anyway, it blew my mind. I was really afraid of playing this game, and when I finally got to play it, I was just I love it.
I have a legitimate fear of deep water, so I wonder if I'll ever be able to play this game. And for those watching, wondering why I just looked like I was in extreme pain, I smashed my heel off my chair, and I like almost it fucking hurt. Maybe I'll play this game Wednesday for my stream or something. I've been trying to play more Dreamcast games.
Oh man,
if
you do, let me know. I would actually want to watch.
Please do. I'll try and jump on.
I mean, you kind of mentioned we never really did say that all the Ecco games before this were 2D. This one is 3D full. Behind the dolphin view, they say.
That's the kids say these days.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's cool though.
Yeah. If you do play it, that'd be awesome. As I say, the first few levels are just kind of very similar to original Ecco, but I kind of think it eases you in, and there's still some really great stuff in the first few levels. Yeah. Phew. Oh, yeah.
Eases you in. The original games do not do that. They just toss you right in there.
Yeah,
I remember Ed Nunziata in a interview or something. I think he said he purposely made Ecco more difficult so that you could not beat it within a weekend's time, and you had to keep renting it or something if you hadn't bought it.
Okay,
I could be, I could be misquoting, but yeah,
I feel like
which kind of makes me sad that his Big Blue game that he wanted to make like this open world ocean game never came to be, because if this game, like you said, is just as massive as it is, then I can't even imagine how you could make something even bigger.
Yeah, you know? It's crazy. Like, I mean, some of the areas I guess aren't. Well, there are some really actually big open water areas and stuff in it, but the levels themselves are actually pretty decent. I think the first couple aren't that big, but then later on, I was like, I remember just being almost stuck in levels that are massive, going, "Whoa, this isn't as big as level is." But yeah, and as I say, there are parts where you can actually go back and forth between levels. There's like passageways that you can then load up the previous level because you unlock abilities and stuff as you go through. And yeah, I'm now fanboying over this game.
That's okay. The part that you mentioned about being in the sky in tubes of water made me think about a part in Panzer Dragoon Saga. So I wonder if that's why you enjoy parts of this game so much. Like, is it equivalent to that at all?
This is more challenging to go through those watery bits in the sky. I would say that you basically have to jump between bits in the sky, and the water is pushing you along as well in some of the tubes, so you kind of got to angle yourself just right because you're getting pushed, and you have to launch into like other bubbles and stuff. And it's a very challenging game, but I think once you start from the beginning, you sort of do build up your ability and skill and stuff. Because when I was testing out the Striker DC controller, I just loaded up an old game and like went to like one of the last levels, and I was like, I can do this. I played this years ago. Nope, died instantly straight away. Deaf. I was like, okay, I'm going back to the first level and try that out first to ease myself back in. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, really cool game. Love it. Yeah,
sounds cool.
So that ends the feature this week and the end of the show. Is there anything else you guys want to add at all to the audience or the listeners or anything?
I would say start tuning in to mine and Graham's new streaming show that we're going to start doing on Friday. We like Graham said, we did Advent Rising. I think we're going to do that again for the next couple.
Yeah,
maybe streams, just because with this game, like we got through basically the first area, and then the second one feels even more like a Halo game, and I'm really looking forward to you, Graham, playing it, because we got the basically this version of the warthog at the end
Yeah.
of this last stream. And I'm really looking forward to seeing like this next stage, what you how you like it and everything, and then
Awesome.
eventually getting unlocking the powers and stuff, because then the game really opens up. I'm excited, and I guess we'll just do all sorts of different games, but we'll start mainly doing like a lot of co-op stuff. But
Yeah.
I wanted to start out with Advent Rising just to get your first reactions of actually playing the game.
Yeah, it's really fun, and yeah, I'm up for it. I'm up for playing a bit more, and for sure, yeah. So check it out. Check out the new stream. So I think actually now, because we mentioned on a previous show, we almost do a stream every day of the week. I think we now do every weekday of the week, don't we? Is this right, Scotty? You're the man with the schedule normally.
Corey's been jumping in because he was playing Doom for his magazine review. So there was a week where we had almost something every day, but it's multiple days throughout the week we do streams.
Okay.
So
Yeah, because I feel like Chris and I were looking at a time slot and we couldn't fit it in during the week anymore because everyone seemed to be recording or streaming during the week. So I feel like we're getting there almost every day of the week.
Most of ours is in the evening, but mine and Graham's starts around noon on Fridays. So
right.
which for the UK is early evening, like 5 p.m. roughly. So yeah, if you're in the UK or Europe, check it out.
I'm most impressed that Graham actually got the time difference and calculation correctly, because this is the first time I've ever heard him figure out what the time from the East Coast is into like UK time. Never happened before. This is a first.
It's a very easy calculation that I do seem to screw up every time. I don't know how.
Scotty, don't even act like you've never gotten mad at Graham like miscalculating.
Hey, we're all learning new things during this pandemic, so Graham finally figured out time zones.
Which I should know. We've been doing stuff together for years now. Anyway,
True Renaissance man.
Over a decade. You've probably done stuff with him for over a decade.
I think it's closer to 2 decades now, isn't it? Because we started doing this around the Dreamcast time. Like,
you're not helping your
Dreamcast
side of the argument.
We're not. Yeah. Basically, I can't tell the time in multiple time zones, apparently. So,
right.
Anyway, brilliant. Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening or whatever you're doing this on. And don't forget to tune in September the 12th for our Dreamcast 24-hour Dreamless Marathon, where we do play Dreamcast games for 24 hours. There's a group of us. We normally team up and go together and go to Scotty's house and do it, but we can't do that this year because of the whole world is falling apart type thing. So we're going to try and do it virtually. So this is going to be a fun new thing where I'm going to screw up all the streams because my internet doesn't work or something, but we'll give it a try. We'll see what happens. And it's all for charity as well.
We also give away a Dreamcast console every year. Don't forget to tell people that.
Yes, we do give away prizes, a Dreamcast console.
Library.
Oh, yes. Yeah, exactly. So we do, as Scotty mentioned before, Warp Zone donates a Dreamcast that we actually get to give away in a couple of games maybe. I'm not sure if we've rested on the games yet or anything.
We'll discuss that probably in the meeting after this podcast.
Oh, fantastic. And we give away some other little bits and prizes, and we raise money for charity as well for Extra Life, and it's a great thing. It's really fun. So, yeah, we'll probably talk a bit more about it in other shows coming up. But for now, that'll do. So, catch you later.
See ya.